Welcome to the Impactful Engineer Project. I'm Steve Maxey, and with my co-host and brother Jake, we are here to bring you guidance, fresh ideas, and the tools to help you become an impactful engineer.
Welcome back to another episode of the Impactful Engineer Podcast, where we share what we think will help you grow in your engineering career and inspire you to take some action. Today, we're diving into a game-changing mindset shift, the power of feedback and advice. You might think you're doing everything right, but there's a good chance you're missing out on opportunities to grow simply because you can't see your own blind spots. Let's talk about how to unlock those areas for improvement and take your career to the next level. This is something I've been thinking about a lot over the last year. Feedback has helped me tremendously in my career since I've begun to take it for what it is. You might think you've heard it all before, and you'd be right. So why aren't you the best in your field at what you do? Is it possible there are ways to increase your potential? Ask yourself this question. What if the future version of you could look yourself in the eye and say, "You're making this harder than it needs to be"? Would you listen to yourself? Here's the harsh truth. We're great at giving advice to others, but terrible at taking it ourselves. Think about it. How often do you act on advice someone else gives you, even when it's exactly what you'd tell the other person in your shoes? Like someone gossiping. "I don't understand why so-and-so can't get with the program and just finish their tasks in the appropriate time." You know you'd immediately have a million things to say to help. You'd say things like, well, did you talk to them and figure out where they get stuck? Have you given them the tools they need to be successful? Are they willing to be successful? Have you sat with them and worked through the problems together to identify the weak spots in their game? Did you increase the frequency and availability of mentoring sessions? Wow, that's some great advice. Think back to a time where you figured out something and it was a game changer for you. Probably pretty easy to do if you put some thought into it. There are those big moments. Then try to find evidence of someone that gave you the exact advice, but you let it go and skipped right over it, only to rediscover it for yourself later. Hard to find that, right? Exactly. And that's what you're missing out on with big career skills and unlocks. It doesn't mean people weren't there to give you the advice, right? It's time to start listening, because those moments where you figure it out and take the next step will be more frequent, because it's always up to us to take the actions in the end, but we can help ourselves along the way. One of the biggest reasons people don't budge when sound advice is given is that you have already tried that and you dismiss it for the habits you currently have. You always revert back to the same old habits that you've had for a while. Yes, the pesky habits that everybody talks about. Habits are super powerful. That's why people talk about them a lot and have dissected them and given people ways to leverage them for their benefit. I've written millions of books about them. Habits help you navigate everything about the world easily and efficiently. That's why they're habits. They're super comfy, and they're super comfy to maintain once you have them, but also work against you when change is desperately needed. This is the source. This happens because we're stuck in our own perspective, unable to read the label on the outside of the bottle that we're living inside. Think about it. You can't see the outside of the bottle that you're stuck in. We happily tell others about their labels, right? And help them with their blind spots, but fail to act on our own. So, how do we change this? The real magic happens when we allow others to give us feedback and actually listen and take action. People are giving us feedback all the time, whether we like it or not, whether we see it or not. Let's actually begin to listen and take action. These people are standing outside of our bottle with a clear view of what we can't see, but the challenges are twofold. Here it is. One, overcoming our natural resistance to advice, breaking the habits that are in our way. And two, accepting feedback without feeling like we're giving up power or admitting weakness or allowing whatever other emotions we get to get in our way. It's about reframing advice as a tool for growth, not a critique of your worth. It's about giving up the necessity to think of it on your own and replace that with taking action as if it was yours and yours alone that made it work. One caution to all this feedback discussion. You must have a way to filter perspectives of others. It's a big deal. You have all of the context of your life and situation, which is unique in this world and unique to any other living thing on this planet. All right, that's a big deal, and I really want you to listen to that. It's going to be a little contrarian to what I'm going to tell you to do, but you must hold on to that. For example, it's like using a knee brace when you run, which I've done. Others might think it's unnecessary, but you know what works for your body. And I'm going to dive into this a little bit because I think it's necessary. It's kind of off the beaten path, but we'll get back to feedback here in a second. So you're running with this knee brace. Others could see that as running with an injury, right, which they could perceive as bad, instead of rehabbing with a tool, which is what I would be using it for. So apply that same principle to your career. Listen to what others see, filter it for truth, filter it for your context of your life, and use it to prepare yourself forward as is suitable, okay? It's just crazy how rampant our thought processes are in this area and how resistant we are to changing our habits. I bring up the knee brace thing because it's something I have done while rehabbing my knee. I know for myself that it's better to keep going in a limited capacity without pain until I heal and can do more and more without the knee brace than just stopping running or walking until the pain goes away. I know that for myself. And just because I know someone will go to the extreme of saying, oh, so you would run right after surgery or some other traumatic event as long as you wore a brace, that's not what I'm talking about. You got to go in there and reattach some ligaments, heal, all right? Anyway, I was having this thought experiment while doing some training with the brace on. I saw someone riding an electric bike, not pedaling at all, and I immediately thought they would be much healthier if they would just pedal under their own power. That was the first thought. It's crazy. That person's goal is probably not to get healthier at all, just to get from one place to another and enjoy some outside time and get some sunshine with minimal effort. That's probably their goal. And that person riding up behind me that saw me with the knee brace why would this person subject themselves to this much pain and be wearing a brace just to be outside? I mean, get an electric bike and just cruise, man. Perfect scenario where the advice we would give to others has no context. This is why I tell that story. We have the best context for ourselves, so lean into that, but don't let it keep you blind to the feedback that you could receive that could change your career. So, I'm not saying just listen blindly to people and take action, but I'm saying that it's not a reason to shut it all out. I think it's really important that you guys understand that. So, okay, back to feedback. Why is it critical? Great. As engineers, we thrive on precision, problem solving, continuous improvement, right? We're driven to do these things, but here's the catch. If we don't seek out feedback, we're leaving potential on the table. Staying in our routine without external input means we might miss opportunities for growth, blind spots that hold us back, solutions that others can see clearly that we cannot. So feedback isn't always come in the best package. We know that. But even poorly delivered advice can carry valuable truths if you're willing to look. Look for that kernel of insight and integrate it into your own growth plan. So think about this. Ask yourself this question. How much potential are you leaving on the table by rejecting advice just because it didn't come in the way you wanted to hear it? This is so important. It takes an open mind and an awareness of your own bias to make the most out of it. And by that I mean a way to overcome your bias and seek out the nuggets of truth despite that. Despite your brain telling you this person didn't deliver it right, I don't have a good history with this person, I don't really even like this person, so I'm not going to listen to anything. I can tell you one thing, bias will always exist like that. Just knowing it's there and ensuring that you don't allow it to cloud your judgment is the key, so it will never go away completely. So don't try to work on getting rid of those feelings or bias. Just work with it. So here's a habit that I have. I have a habit of putting distance between myself and other people that I work with that just aren't compatible with me, whatever that means to me. They don't talk like me, they don't work like me, they don't think like me. We just don't gel. It's been a hindrance to my career more times than I care to admit, though. And although I still pick and choose who to learn what from and at what time, I've made bigger strides taking advice and learning things from those that I would otherwise dismiss. All right? There's a lot of hidden knowledge and growth potential in that. So try to think about what you can learn from someone instead of the package it's delivered in. Tough, really tough. Especially for me, I can only imagine that there's a lot of people that share my same sentiment. It's really tough, but it can lead to great results most of the time. So here's a couple of feedback filters that you can use to help you in this. Okay, this is what's helped me the most, so I figured I'd share. create emotional distance. What do I mean? When listening to podcasts and reading articles, we're more open because we're not competing with the person giving us the information, the author. We don't know the context of their life. We haven't worked with them. They have no idea who we are, right? The author won't ever see you immediately implement their advice if we take it, and therefore you won't give them any of your power. You thought of that yourself, the advice they gave you. You implemented it yourself. Nobody else knows where you got it. You're just a genius, prodigy, right? Right. So apply that mindset to feedback from colleagues as well, those people that you are close to. Remove your ego and listen objectively. It's so funny how petty the mind is, or my mind is. Like, I don't know if I can tell you, I would literally not take action on something simply because somebody else thought of it first. And that I would somehow have to give credit to them each and every time I did the thing from then on. Oh, I got that from somebody. Good thing they gave it to you. It's the only way you could get through, right? And that hurt. And I especially loathed the moments where that person that gave me the advice would see me doing it and say, see, much better, right? Told you. Hated that. You know, and the first thought in my mind would, perhaps they would feel much better if they had a swift kick to the nuts. It's emotions. Emotions are crazy. Maybe I'm on Freak Island on this one, but whatever the emotion is, give yourself a moment and some space to feel the emotion and then take the appropriate action. Someone I look up to said this, and I'm, paraphrasing because I can't remember the exact wording, but we aren't our thoughts and feelings. We are the actions we take in spite of them, which in most cases is to implement the good shit from the advice you're given, instead of letting your petty mind take over and get in your way. Second piece of advice is that I would seek close to home advice. The people who know your work best often give the most valuable feedback. Don't reject it because of proximity. Instead, look for truths in their observations and use them strategically. The more context someone has, the better, because they know more about how you think. The only one better to give you advice is yourself, your future self, that has achieved what you want to achieve. The next best person is the one that has achieved what you want to achieve and is in close proximity to you. Nowadays, we can bring pretty much anyone we want really close to us that creates content and has what we want, right? Podcasts are a great way to do that. So to kind of wrap this up, the future version of you would probably give today's you a reality check, right? Don't wait for hindsight to make you realize what you're missing now. Start seeking feedback intentionally. Take advice as an opportunity, not a challenge to your authority. Use every insight to become the best version of yourself. An engineer who's not just technically strong, but also a leader, a problem solver, and a growth seeker. Thanks for tuning in. Remember, the advice you take today could shape the engineer you become tomorrow. Until next time, keep building your impactful career. Remember, I'll never know that you listened to this or that you took anything away from it. So you are free and clear to have come up with this or any of the stuff you hear on your own and implement it yourself. And real talk, your conclusions are your own, guys. And what you choose to do is up to you. So any way you slice it, it's you that will do the work and chase your potential. Nobody else, not this podcast or any other, just you. Remember that.